Commit to Wealth Nation, welcome to the Commit to Wealth podcast. I am your host, Juan Vargas. Today on the show, we have Jimmy Edwards. For over 12 years, Jimmy has been involved in real estate, including being a mortgage broker, real estate agent, acquiring rentals, and flipping over 100 houses. His latest focus is investing in multifamily, both passively and actively, as a general partner. Jimmy, welcome to the show.
Hey, Juan. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks a lot for taking the time and making this happen. Yeah, let's get these things started and tell us a little bit about your background. Tell us how you got into real estate, and then we'll kind of dive into today.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've been in real estate for 12 years. I went to Texas Tech University and graduated with a degree in finance with an emphasis in real estate. I had the opportunity to take some real estate courses in college and ended up reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And it really, that book was, changed my thinking quite a bit. And so I graduated. This was in 2005. I moved up to Dallas, and I eventually got a job as a mortgage broker. And so as the market was going down into the recession, rates were going down, and I was doing a lot of refinances, probably 20, 30 refinance loans a month. So kind of, a lot of people were exiting the market, and I was getting in. And that really helped shape, the way my brain processes underwritings for single family and multifamily now. So I had a small rental portfolio of my own. And about this time last year, I started really diving deep into the fundamentals of multifamily. And in several months ago, February, bought a 16-unit apartment complex, and then just recently, about 60 days ago, closed on a 103-unit apartment complex, both heavy value add. Something that was, familiar with my previous train of thought. So, it's a lot of heavy lifting, but it's fun. So that's what we've been doing lately.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like that. You have a pretty good background in real estate, to begin with. And, you mentioned that, you had to get the right mindset, with the right books and, stuff like that. But, tell us, how you even got into, larger multifamily. Most people will start maybe with a duplex or, fourplex or something like that. How did you get the mindset to go, even bigger than that?
Sure. I'd been doing some research, and my partner actually has I have several partners, 3 partners, and they've all got previous experience in multifamily. My single family partner, she had done large rehabs on multifamily projects. So we found a mentor and a coach, and got plugged in with people that, are doing what we wanted to do. So really just, doing some homework and starting to see, my goal was to have about 40 rent houses, and I'd started plugging away at that, and it was just taking a lot of time and energy to get there. And I realized that in multifamily, you could get to your goals much, much faster. So got plugged in with a mentor and a coach, and started talking to people and networking and, interviewing people, and people were interviewing us. And then, really just finding synergy with people that have done, what you want to do. And that was really kind of, that's kind of the story, I guess.
Yeah. No, that's good. So you pretty much, tapped into a network where there's a bunch of like-minded guys that were doing already deals, and they had more, some prior experience before you, and you kind of tapped into that network and were able to take into taking down your own deals. So your first deal, you mentioned a 16-unit, but before that, was that your active deal? Did you get into any passive deals, or what was the deal there?
I did. So I'm a limited, but before that I was a limited partner in 2 passive deals. And I think that one's a 100 unit and the other's a, roughly 180 unit deal. So I got into 2 passive deals. When I first started, we had a 26 unit deal that we were underwriting. And, before I had any experience or any, had built up my network, we took that, to the bank, and they underwrote it and asked us what our experience was. And, I thought all my single family experience was going to be, look great. And they didn't really care about it, which was
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
eye-opening. So we plugged into some networks, and I realized that getting into deals passively would help you, be able to take down your own deal eventually. So that was kind of the first step. Got into 2 passive deals, did that relatively quickly within 30 days or so.
Jimmy, so you would say that getting into 2 passive deals was giving you more credibility than versus, having a bunch of single family experience and, flipping homes and doing all that good stuff. You're going to say that maybe these 2 passive deals give you more credibility?
I would say that they gave me all the credibility.
Okay.
I would, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that they really had the single family stuff did not matter. I probably could have been an engineer with 0 real estate experience,
Yeah.
and entered the market with the same pace. So having the passive deals on your resume is definitely the first step. I mean, you can get into multifamily with no single family experience. And, as a matter of fact, that was kind of how they looked at me when they started the underwriting. So, I would say that's definitely the first step is to get into a deal passively. Looks good for your resume. You can learn, if you have the right sponsor, they're going to allow you to pick their brain as the deal moves forward. So, that was definitely for me, the first step.
Yeah. And I'm going to add to that. I mean, for me personally, I started off with single family as well, and I try to transfer that into a multifamily, and they're like, okay, so what multifamily experience do you have? I'm like, well, I have this. Okay, but what multifamily experience do you have?
Right.
And so, yeah, I'm 100%, with you on that. While it does help you with your skills and kind of, get an idea of, what it takes to rehab these properties, and those kind of things. I mean, they're kind of different, right? They're pretty different actually. So, so you get into these, a couple of deals that give you credibility. So then from there, what happened?
We were looking at deals, we were underwriting deals, and through the grapevine, having met some people and having previous relationships, we teamed up with our partners now on the smaller 16-unit deal. It was a heavy value add, so a lot of CapEx, a lot of rehab, total shakedown, all new tenants, and it was a big project, and we did it with some guys that had the multifamily experience and saw the opportunity, but wanted to leverage our time and unique ability to kind of manage the construction rehab process. So it was a win-win. We saw the opportunity to get into the space, and that would be the first loan we ended up I was on. And so that was definitely a catalyst to getting into the space, seeing opportunity, someone, other people believing in you and having goals that align with each other. So really having a team, where everyone kind of plays a part, I think is really crucial.
Yeah, well, that's great. So you got into that 16 unit. And what market was this? Was this right there in your own backyard, or was it a different market?
This was local. This was in Grand Prairie, which is a submarket of Dallas, Texas. So we all live here. So it's close, manageable. So that was kind of what we were looking for, was the first deal to do in Dallas, and kind of that was kind of how I'd been, we'd been searching for deals. We've met a lot of people that may or may not have, an abundance of time to do the everyday, construction management, or maybe they do have the time and they'd rather leverage someone else like us. So that was kind of how we started approaching it was, hey, we're local, this is what we can offer. We ended up, that's how we struck the first deal. It's been great.
Sweet. So let's talk about your larger deal. That's a 103 unit property. And so was this property also right there in your own backyard?
This one's about 4 hours away. It's in Texas. It's in Lobeck, Texas, and it's about an hour flight, not too far. But I lived in Lobeck. That's where Texas Tech University is. So I'd lived there for 4 years and knew the market extremely well. When I saw this property, I saw a lot of opportunity. Knew where it was. Had been there before, and the Lobeck market has grown a lot. And, they're not adding any C-class properties. So this deal was 50% occupied. So that's kind of where a lot of the opportunity, was. It just happened to catch my eye. I was underwriting 4 or 5 other deals. Would love to do another deal in the Dallas-Fort Worth market, but it's just, it's one of the hottest markets in the nation. So it's extremely competitive. And that deal was, for some people that weren't, familiar with the market or weren't really willing to, make that trek, on top of the fact that it's a heavy value add, was where there was a lot of opportunity for us. So, the transition from 16 unit deal to 100 unit deal, that not a ton of people may have been going after, had that been in Dallas, you'd probably see some more people. But, I think a lot of people, multifamily space are chasing that non-recourse loan, and you need 90% occupancy to get that. So this was a recourse deal. We all signed on the loan, but having come from the single family game, that's nothing new. I mean, we've had several $1 million of single family loans on the line before, and always planned on repaying those. So wasn't anything new.
Yeah.
We'll refinance. The only problem with I'd say a recourse deal is it ties up some of your net worth. So we plan to refinance into agency debt, into non-recourse loan, and then take down some more. So.
Got it, man. So let's kind of start from the very beginning. Why did you even choose Lobeck? I know you said that you went to school there in Texas Tech. I mean, what attracted you to that market besides, you being a former Texas Tech Raider?
I feel the fundamentals are pretty strong. I mean, I've always been, even in the single family space, flipping houses. There's some people that focus on certain zip codes. I've always chased the deals. So to me, it was the opportunity. And then once we started underwriting, the fundamentals of the market were good. I mean, all the other properties are, performing, 92 to 96% occupancy. There's not a lot of inventory in that space. The college is there, which, has, 30 to 40,000 students, and, is the top employer. So, look, in the event of a downturn, college tuition, college enrollment tends to increase. So, I feel like the stability of the market there is pretty strong, given any, ups and downs of a market cycle. So we like that. I think a lot of it really had to do with the deal, but once we dug into the fundamentals of that particular submarket, I felt really good about them. So it just kind of made sense. We had experience there, and we're willing to jump at that opportunity in order to get kind of get in the game, I guess you could say.
Got it. So you mentioned that this is it was basically a recourse deal. 50% occupied. It had some hair on it. Besides those kind of things, what are some things that you have learned so far in this deal? Because I'm sure you've learned some things. So tell us, just one or two things that from the top of your head that you have that have really stuck out to you.
Having a good team in place. The little bit of the struggles on this one was, being in a new market with such a heavy value add, finding contractors. Our property management companies really helped us with that. I would say, having a good property management company would be the number one key. I mean, they've been, a huge part of our success. When we closed the deal, there was no staff there at the property, so we had to hire all new staff. The property management company had 4 or 5 other properties in that market. So, we were able to borrow team members from other sites. And that was huge, and through the interview process, we went to their other properties, and, they're running a tight ship. They're all beautiful, all, 95% occupied. So it was, really, a big part of the transition was having a strong team, and kind of letting them, do their job, and allowing them to do that. And for me, I've always been, a team player, and I think that having, the right team with the right unique abilities is part of the process. So, I wish I could give you a better, hard lesson learned, but, it's been a good, talking point. So, that's probably what I would share.
Yeah, I mean, especially if it's going to be in a different market other than your backyard, then you really have to have a solid property management company that you can trust. Somebody that has a good track record with other properties. They have taken down deals, from being unstabilized to stabilized, and they turn around the property in a good way. So having a good property management company is is at the very top. At the very top of the necessary team members that you got to have. How is your occupancy now that you closed on it just a little while back? It was 50% occupied now. So what is it now? How are you doing?
We're about the same. We've they were sticking people in there 60, 90, 120 days before closing to get warm bodies in there.
Yeah.
And all the people that signed leases within 90 days before closing hadn't paid a single dollar. So,
wow.
We ended up doing, some evictions, and we've been filling up, units with people that have passed our screening process. So, I'd say it's kind of even right now. Our biggest, hurdle is not having enough turned units. So, we're working on that right now. We're getting some units, turned, so that we can have inventory, so that we can implement our marketing plan. So we've really just the past 60 days been, focused on, stabilization isn't the right word, but, we've been getting our team in there. We've been working tickets. Property management's been, trying to rebuild the trust with the current tenant base. We've got a lot of good people in there, but they've just, they went through 5 or 6 property management companies before this place sold. So they just didn't have a lot of trust going into the deal. So, we came in and said, we're here for you. We're going to make a lot of changes. And, they didn't believe us. So, we've really been spending a lot of time, rebuilding their trust. And, I think now we're at a point where, we're starting to turn some units, and we're getting a lot of traffic, and, we're about to implement our marketing plan and really get after the lease up. So, it's been good. It's been, a challenge, but, that's where the opportunity is.
And being that, it's a different market, are you, how often are you guys actually going out there and to look over the property, because that's one thing that, a lot of people don't take into account. You can, have a good property management company, but you still got to oversee the property and oversee the property management company to make sure that the process is going right and the business plan is going as planned, right? So, what is your scheduling like as far as that's concerned?
Yeah, we usually go up there 2 to 3 times a month, every 2 to 3 weeks, something like that. We communicate with our property manager, the regional, on a daily basis, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. We get weekly updates from the property manager, and we do a weekly call as well. So make sure everybody's on the same page. But, we go up there every couple of weeks and, just kind of put our eyes on it and make sure everybody's sharing, that everyone's aligned properly. And so far we have been, we've got good people, and, that's really been, a big part of this deal.
Got it. So you got this, 103 unit property. You had the 16 unit property. So what's next? What's next for you guys?
So I sent in a letter of intent last night for 14 million on 170 units, I believe. So keeping we've got a good team. Everybody's got a unique ability. So we're managing this deal and continuing to make sure it's moving forward the best way possible. And at the same time, we're looking at other deals. I'd like to get another 100, 200 unit deal by the end of this year. I think we'll do that. Within the next 5 years, I want to have 100 million, in assets under management. So, that's kind of my, 5-year plan. And, how do you get there? You do 20 million a year. So, if we can take down another, 10 or $15 million deal, this year, then we ought to be on the right track. So that's where I'm headed. Our single family stuff is pretty much phased out at this point. We've got a listing on one of our last flips going up tomorrow night. So really just focusing on multifamily. I mean, set big goals, and do what it takes to get there. So that's where I'm headed. If we can get another $5 or $6 million deal this year, that'd be great. But we're looking at big ones. So,
yeah. And obviously if you go bigger, then a lot of times it'll be easier on the financing. You'll get, you can get better terms, the scalability, with the property management, fee. I mean, just everything, it just makes more sense, and it becomes more profitable for everyone. And it becomes easier to oversee. So, contrary to what most people think, whenever they're first starting out, if it's larger, then it's gonna be more difficult. No, it's actually the opposite. So,
it's definitely the opposite, and it's the same amount of work to close a $5 million deal as it is to close a $20 million deal. So
why not go bigger, right? I mean, the one thing that I would say for any of you out there that is looking to get into multifamily or is already in multifamily, at the very beginning, you might want to tuck down a smaller deal, and the reason I say that is because you also got to think about the capital raise, right? So a smaller deal is going to take less capital to take it down, and then there's less net worth and liquidity that's required. As you build your investor, base, then you can get into larger deals, but you also got to realize that it's going to be a larger capital raise, right? So that's a challenge for many people to get into larger deals at the very beginning, is the capital raise, and that's just one of the pieces, right? But the capital raise is a large part of it. So just keep that in mind, guys. But definitely bigger is better in this business. So yeah. Now, having said that, I think it's time for our nuggets of wealth, Jimmy. And these are questions that I ask every guest every week, and hopefully they're able to help them out in their own business. So here we go. What is a key tip or advice that you would give to newer multifamily syndicators that want to get into their next syndication or even the first syndication?
First syndication, find a coach or a mentor or a partner, or people that have done, what you want to do. I mean, that's the key. I used to think I could do everything myself, and I realized that probably slowed my growth. So, connect, plug in, and meet people and get out there and always learning something new.
Got it. Great answer, man. What is a good tool, source, or platform that you use frequently that can also help others?
Man, this is super, super easy, but I would say Facebook, honestly. I mean, a big part of multifamily syndication is having a network. And, being able to build a virtual network has been, a huge part of my fundamentals, honestly. If you're not on the internet in 2018, it's probably going to take you a long time to get there. So
to get acclimated, right? So
yeah,
I would agree with that. You got to be out there. Whether your goals are investing passively or your goals are, taking down a deal as an active investor, either way, how do you get into a deal if you want to be a passive investor? Well, you got to get out there and meet the active guys, right? So part of that is using social media and reaching out to them and kind of, just being involved. So, man, that's great, and that's something that, most of us, unless, like you mentioned, you're still, in the, old school, you're not necessarily getting into Facebook, but yeah, that's something that you got to be using as an advantage, in for your business. Right. And, definitely some great connections that can be made out of that. So, what is the best business advice you ever received?
No, sometimes the best deal you've ever done is the one you said no to. We get excited, and sometimes you try to make things work, that you shouldn't. And so, recognizing, the next deal's right around the corner. And that's something I learned a long, long time ago. Don't try to force a deal. The best deal you ever did was the one you passed on, because you'll get a good opportunity, potentially fall in your lap tomorrow. So, just being diligent and that's really all.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. What book are you currently reading?
I haven't. So this is a good question. I haven't started reading this book yet, but Tom Wheelwright, Tax-Free Wealth, is the one that I just downloaded on Audible yesterday, and I'm excited to dig into it. I've been learning a lot of stuff lately about cost segregation, and bonus depreciation, and I've met a lot of people that are making multiple 9-figure incomes and aren't paying any taxes. So that's pretty impressive to me. So I want to learn more about that.
I will second that. I mean, 100% all day, because that's a book I read, quite a while back. I mean, there's so much value in that book, that you're going to read it and you're going to be like, man, it's kind of one of those eye openers, really. So I recommend, I highly recommend anybody that hasn't read that book to pick one up and go to town with it. So, it's awesome. So Tax-Free Wealth by Tom Wheelwright. Where do you see your business and company in the next 5 years? I know you covered this earlier, saying that you wanted to get to 100 million in assets. Where do you see, can you add anything to that, really?
100 million in assets. I haven't drilled down in that too much. I've probably later in this year I'll work a little bit more on the 5-year plan. But right now in year one of a 5-year plan, the current focus is finding the next deal for this year. So, it'll probably be expanding the team, and, I think that I would, like to join more masterminds. I mean, that's part of my goal to get there, be around, more high level thinkers that have done, what I want to do. So, probably spending more time and money there. But, just drilling backwards, and how do you get there? You do one more deal. How do you do one more deal? Well, you underwrite 10 of them and make five offers. So, just working backwards.
There you go. I love that. You got to take action. That's what it takes at the very end of the day. I mean, how do you get there? Taking action,
That's right.
So at the end of your life, how do you want to be remembered?
I'd like to build a legacy. I think the biggest goal is to, create these assets and this passive income stream and build something that, can be passed down. I enjoy talking about this stuff. It's my hobby and it's my, it's my life. So, at some point I'd like to be on the other side of the table and help other people, get to where, hopefully I'm at, that have, same ambitions and drive that, that I had. So, building something together, with a group of people that all have similar goals, so that we can all, enjoy life and pass that down to the next generation.
Got it. Leaving a legacy is what it's about, man. So great answer, man. So, yeah, that is it, man. I appreciate you taking the time and sharing with us some great tips and value. And so where can Commit to Wealth Nation go to contact you and find out more about yourself and your company?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a website. It's High Five Multifamily. It's all spelled out. You can find me there. My contact information's on there. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn. I think the website has links to all that. If you got a question, submit a question. I'd be happy to answer. I'm actually got a phone call this afternoon from a guy that found me online. So always trying to connect with like-minded people and help others when I can.
Yeah. And you have done that because, I didn't say this earlier, but Jimmy is actually, a good friend of mine. And, I have introduced, other people to him, and he's, has been more than happy to help him out. And so, when he says that, he actually means it, because, I've experienced it firsthand. And, but yeah, I will see you around because, like I said, you are my buddy, and, I will definitely see you around. And so maybe I'll see you next week as early as that. So, but yeah, thanks a lot for coming on the show, and I wish you continued success.
Thanks, brother. Thanks for having me, and I'll see you soon for sure.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks a lot.
All right. Bye.